Hey Jova,
Yes?
what do you get when you mix fire with ice?
You get a decent sequel of a mediocre game.
Honestly, I wouldn't even calling Shadow Crystal mediocre is giving it a bit too much credit if you ask me.
I thought it was a mediocre sequel to a bad game.
I mean, honestly, I'd say that
It's a
this game
sequel
is...
to a game.
Let me put it like
It's
this.
Sanzaru, the guys who are now owned by Facebook. I mean Meta.
Let me put it like this in a sense. This honestly feels like the reverse of the Amazing Spider-Man duology.
Right.
Oh.
My ultimate weapon. Power to fuel my revenge.
I was gonna stab himself with it.
Sonic.
This isn't JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Dibs.
So yeah, unlike Shadow Crystal, we have new cutscenes made by Wido, the same studio that animated the show.
French
Honestly-
CGI, yay!
Honestly, for a 3DS game, the resolution does not look bad, I'll admit.
Yeah, and the subtitles are actually on the bottom screen. See, Dimps? This is how you do it.
I've never seen anything like it, and I've seen lots of crazy things. If this keeps getting worse, it's gonna be...
So basically, the main threat of this is bad weather.
Batter up.
You'll see.
No, well, for this game, Potek and Greg have returned, but the show's writers also joined in. So this game is a lot more in tune with the show, unlike Shadow Crystal.
Essentially, for those who aren't aware, the show has... the show started off mainly comedic, but in the later season essentially balanced out more of its humor with some adventure and even some stakes here and there.
Yeah, Sonic and Amy just randomly came across fire and ice powers, and the game never really explains where this comes from, but trust me, like the game will even make a joke about it anyway, so you'll see. So there you go. Now we can control fire and ice, because
Congratulations, Sonic and Amy. You've invented the geyser.
science, as Tails would say later.
Blast must have charged us up somehow. These
Oh,
powers are
there you go.
incredible.
We got our powers from a radioactive blast, essentially.
Be careful, Sonic and Amy. Usually, if I know my comic books, that usually comes with other consequences.
Also saw that the
Well, so
Like
long as you
what?
don't Hulk out, you should be fine.
Like what, the government being after you?
You can.
Everyone you love, no one loves being in danger?
Well, it depends. I mean, with Spider-Man, you can eventually turn into a man-spider. With Fantastic Four, you can turn into a rock person. It depends on the comic. All right,
And then Stan Lee gave up and said, "I'll just make them mutants."
Okay, so Sonic Boom Fire and Ice, gameplay-wise, is a sequel to Shattered Crystal, the previous 3DS Sonic Boom game. Just like Sonic Boom Shattered Crystal, Sonic Boom Fire and Ice is a Metroidvania-style platformer. However, one of the primary improvements that they've made is that this, unlike the first game, the collectibles are optional. Meaning, if you just want to move through the game and not go scrounge every inch of the fucking level, you can. Thank you.
Yeah, and I will say this, I feel like the pacing is on point. Hence why I say that this is honestly a decent sequel in game, essentially. Like, I found Shattered Crystal to be mediocre at best because of its bog standard pacing, and while yes, it was technically I'd say the more stable of the two Boom games, I would not argue it was the more fun of them in that sense here. This feels like a better understanding of what it could have been, essentially.
As you can see, the primary gimmick of Sonic Boom Fire and Ice is the actual fire and ice. Basically, at any point in the game, you can press L or R to switch between fire powers and ice powers. What they do, they melt fire blocks and they freeze ice blocks. That's basically it. There's other applications of the gimmick, and we'll go through them as we go along. Oh, look, right there, right here. There's a fire block right there. You can just use your powers to melt them. There you go.
Essentially, this will help out with exploration, also helping you to go into some more optional areas here and there too. It's a simple gimmick, but honestly, it's a gimmick that's not overly complicated, and it's fine. Helps the game have something of an identity without really needlessly slowing down things.
Sure.
Here, I'd say.
My overall thoughts
your
on
timing's down good.
My overall thoughts on this game is basically the same. Like, it's a game that exists. It's not bad, it's not good, it's just okay. It's a giant flaming ball of adequacy. It works.
Well,
it's fun.
A steaming bowl of adequacy?
Yeah, steaming ball of adequacy.
Fire and ice.
It's a game that doesn't leave much of an impression on me, to be honest with you. It's a game.
Got a frozen reception too.
When I first play. Oh yeah, you can also enter challenge rooms which involve platforming challenges, as you're about to see, to get puzzle pieces. Yes, Dwebs?
Also, yes, audience. In spite of the fact that I wasn't in either the Verizon Lyric or Shattered Crystal commentaries, I am here because
reasons.
I'm here for the same reason that the characters have fire and ice powers. There is one.
Well, it's not like you need to see any of the other stuff anyway, Dwebs. All three of these games stand on their own. They're not really.
So when are you gonna do a Generations of Verizon Lyric?
Eventually, but not for now.
Okay, Deji, I can possibly come up with two scenarios. We do that game, so we redo that game. If Pedro has absolutely nothing else to do, or if Jova wins a bet and makes Pedro do it.
I want my redemption arc from that LP.
Yeah, remember. Well, basically, Deji, you can go check part 7 of our original Rise of Lyric run, where Shiro was actually trying to defend the game at one point, saying.
And then the game decided to slap me in the face seconds after.
Yeah, basically, Deji, I was talking about how this game was the next 06, and Shiro was, and I quote, "Oh, come on, this isn't that bad. This game is playable." And we were all looking at her with this face, and
no. What I said was, at least you don't fall through the floor for no reason. And what fucking happened? Just saying.
Okay. You know the ironic thing, though? Nowadays, Shiro pretty is correct, though, that comparing Boom to 06 is, ironically, kind of a bit overstepping it, seeing as how nowadays, yeah, the game is stable. So, in a sense, Shiro, you technically don't need that redemption anymore.
That's the thing, Jova. If you ask me, the patch only made the game less fun. To be honest with you, because it took away the more fun glitches, to be honest with you.
Actually, let me put it like this. They're both bad, but for actually similar reasons, because 06 was meant to be a new generation in the Sonic franchise. They wanted it to be the next big thing.
So basically...
Sonic, is something wrong with your mouth?
Yeah, that's the thing, Dwebs. The derpy character models of Shattered Crystal make their triumphant return. Yeah, the character models haven't really been improved all that much. They still look derpy.
Yeah, it's like they're reusing the same assets.
Okay, as you saw there, the fissures are actually the goal, meaning because the primary goal of the game is to close all of those fissures so they don't blow up the earth or something. Okay, another thing that this game also has, as you already noticed, it is fully voiced. Every single line of dialogue is voiced. So you can tell. It's interesting considering you'd think after the failure of the first 2 games, this game would be kind of, given.
Failure. Pedro, remember, Shattered Crystal was actually a success. That's the whole reason that there even was a sequel to it.
Wait. How much did Shattered Crystal sell?
Apparently enough to warrant the making of a sequel. Like, it was... okay, look, I mean, given its budget, I'm not surprised that Shattered Crystal was apparently a success. Like, again, though, I mean, okay, look, it's not like a 13 trilogy scenario where they made it just to recoup us. It's like, no, apparently they made the sequel because Shattered Crystal did well enough to warrant a sequel.
Alright,
oh god, so I'm fastidious fever. To my knowledge, I think it was because Sega was impressed that Sanzaro could put out a game of that quality in a short time, so they were like, alright, let's hire you again.
They wouldn't have done that if the game was a failure.
Although speaking of time frames, this game was supposed to come out in the autumn of 2015.
Yep.
But they decided to delay the game to 2016 for 2 reasons: development time and the series' 25th anniversary was coming up. So,
well, they said quality matters.
So ladies and gentlemen, it's official. Out of all the Sonic anniversary games that came out in a year ending at 6, this is the best one.
The interesting thing is that you'd think I'm a bit sad that that year, despite having a lot of time of development for a game like this nature, it still came out as just an average game. But whatever.
Sometimes games can take years to craft, and they just end up just being kind of just be kind of
I guess.
fair or crap. I mean, look at you, you can forever.
Sure.
I'm personally fine with this game. I feel like it turned out fine. Yes, you're right.
Like, as far as sales go, they probably didn't expect, you know, millions from something that is essentially just a tie-in game anyway. So
And a handheld one at
it
that
would
too.
probably be easy to make targets that would warrant a sequel anyway, even if we don't know the exact sales figures, because finding video game sales figures is kind of, you know, not good.
All I know for certain is that Shadow Crystal was definitely not considered a failure, sales-wise.
It depends. It depends what you're talking about, Shiro. If a game sells badly, then yes, the company will not divulge sales figures. But if the game sells well, then they have no problem in telling you how much it sold. So,
Although oddly enough, there have been some cases where a game apparently did do well, but a company still doesn't release numbers for some odd reason. It's weird.
Samus Returns.
Yeah.
Like, do we even know what Mania sales figures were? Because I swear I've, like, not been able to find them.
I don't know about.
No, we don't. But apparently that game did do well.
According to
Well, both critically and.
We did have a word in the financial report that they made for Sonic Forces sales, and said that it sold within expectations. But that can mean a million different things. Basically.
It sold one copy.
If there's any, I'm gonna be positive. If there's any consolation about Forces, I think it's the highest sold game on PSN. For PlayStation Plus, but that's because it came out. It was on PlayStation Plus a month after the movie came out.
Because I mean, it is kind of easy to. I mean, it's pretty easy to be the highest selling thing on something if it costs nothing.
It's also
anyway though, but it's like I said though, it happens with both good and bad games that for some odd reason a company just doesn't want to share the specifics or numbers on it. So
yeah. Anyway, to get back to this game,
it's weird. But yeah, like I said, honestly, I see the Boom 3DS duology as essentially the reverse of the Amazing Spider-Man film duology. Instead of having a decent film followed by a mediocre to terrible sequel, this is essentially a mediocre first installment followed by a decent sequel. I mean,
explain how this works.
Yeah, no, it works. Well, it works just like the submarine levels in the previous game, Shiro. You just go around, you throw missiles, and you find the thing at the end. It's that simple.
Pretty much, yeah.
It was more fun in the Crash PS1 games, honestly, by the looks of it.
It's like like I said, the game basically just addresses all the criticisms of the previous game. My issue with that, it didn't really rework the formula enough to make it even better than it was. Again, it feels like one of those. It feels like, okay, let me put it this way. This game to me is basically the Sonic Chaos to Shadow Crystal Sonic 2 8-bit, in the sense that the primary goal of this game, it seems like it was just to not mess up. You know? Like, to make a game that is not bad. And they succeeded. The game is not bad. It's just that it's not exactly anything noteworthy, you know what I mean? Like, because both times that I played this game, because the first time I played this game, as well as this second one for this recording, I'm honestly having trouble even mustering the ability to remember any specific levels or even have any will to go back to it, because it's a game that's just kind of happens and I end it and I'm just like, well, that was a game, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty much what people say. It's like, yeah, it's fun, it exists, it served its function, moving on.
Like, honestly, I know this may piss off Dead, but I honestly had more fun with Forces than with this game.
How would that piss me off? Jova, I recently went back to play Forces. I just thought it's okay.
Yeah, this honestly feels like a very cold take, Jova, and I don't really know people's, general opinion on this.
You'd be surprised, Roy. There are some people who will go into conniptions if you so much as dare, compliment Forces on anything.
Yeah, like how I said that.
That wasn't intentional, Deji, but I'll take it.
Yeah, like how I said that Forces controls better than Generations from modern Sonic, and then people got mad at me.
Anyway.
Yes, Pedro?
Yeah. as you can see, Amy retains the same gimmick she had in the... Again, all the characters retain the exact same gimmicks they had in the previous game. Styx has her boomerang, Amy has her hammer, Sonic has a spin dash, as well as...
Hold on. Was Amy even playable in Shattered Crystal?
Oh, wait,
No,
wait.
she wasn't.
Oh, wait, you're right, actually. Oh, I forgot about that. See, this is exactly how little of an impression these two games make on me. See? You see? Like, I forgot about... It's been so long since I actually played that game. And, like, I genuinely forgot, to be honest with you. But anyway... Yeah, the basic point is Amy does exactly what you'd expect. She has her hammer, and that's it.
If I may, I do like how the different elemental abilities do give you secondary elements to your attacks, which can affect enemies differently as well.
That is true, yes. Knuckles, of course. Knuckles can dig in specific bouts of dirt, and Tails can not fly. Instead, he kind of glides. While at the while also having a blaster, a Star Wars style blaster that he fires. Well, remember, he also kinda had that in Rise of Lyric, so I can see the idea. There you go. As you can see, the level design is once again Metroidvania-esque. There's a lot of multiple paths, there's a lot of collectibles to get, and the primary purpose of the collectibles is to unlock certain stuff and mini games and stuff like that. But personally, I don't particularly care much for not even the main game, much as the side activities. So I'm just going to make a straightforward playthrough. Go on, but.
I do like overall how it does feel like for a Metroidvania, it is a lot more. It does feel like it's better speed-based platforming, and it's platforming that feels more intuitive to the game here and there. Like, I do feel like part of why the game does feel a bit unremarkable at first is just because, well, it does feel small scale, not necessarily in a way that hurts the game, but in a way that doesn't really catch your eye. Like, I'll say this: if you get into the zone with this game, chances are. You'll have a good enough time with it.
There you go. Even the in-game cutscenes also are fully voiced. Alright, Deji, you're probably not gonna like this upcoming joke.
Is it one day? I'm pretty sure, you know.
You'll see. You'll see.
Oh, sorry, I missed the cutscene. Oh, listen it.
And that's our new robot for the day, Defect.
Eggman lost one of his toys.
Yeah, he'd make a great action figure if our adventures were ever merchandised.
Wink.
Why are you winking at me? I don't buy any of the toys.
I don't think anyone did.
What do you think, Shiro? Would you buy a Defect toy? As in this robot right here?
Probably not.
I mean, I wouldn't buy anything that's called Defect.
This game is canon to the show because Defect does appear.
Oh yeah, that's a good segue, Deji. Allow me, but first let me explain how this boss works. Yeah, Defect has the ability to take over things. Whatever.
Like in the Crash Titans games.
Yeah, remember, Dwebs. One of the primary inspirations for the Boom franchise was old PS2 era platformers. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is you have to first homing attack its hand when it tries to attack you with its either fire or ice powers, like so. There you go. As you can see, the life bar on the top has now been drained. Then you switch places with Amy, and now Amy's goal is to, bang her hammer so that she can raise the pillar until eventually we can get up there and hit him in the head. So make sure to also use your fire powers to take care of any ice blocks that may push you. Right there. Now we can switch back to Sonic. And now let's use Sonic's ability to double jump to get up there. And there you go. Just do this until just do both of these things until his life bar is drained. Anyway, as Deji just said, this Pontak and Graf, the writers of the previous game, return. However, for this game, they get help from the show's writers. And you can tell, because the writing of this game, unlike the previous one, is much better. It's actually much more in tune with the show. It's okay. It's fine. Again, I know that Deji doesn't like it still, but I think it's okay for what it is.
And I said off mic, I assure you, half my issues with the show.
I mean, compared to Shadow Crystal, it's fucking Pulitzer Prize material, because Shadow Crystal still has by far the worst script in a Sonic game ever. Oh my god, that...
Hey, it still has one of the funniest endings to a Sonic game.
Wait, what does?
Shadow Crystal.
I don't know.
I disagree.
No, what? You don't like the fact that Shadow just...
Oh, that's a thing, Deji. Shadow's the only one in that game that's actually in character. That's the interesting...
It's like, and I'll leave it as your superior.
Well, when you say that, do you mean in character for Sonic Boom?
Yeah. Because Shadow actually showed up in the show at one point.
Yeah, for some reason he's a villain, and I'm like, I don't like it.
Well, to be fair, Deji, this is a different universe.
It's a different continuity.
It would be nice if they explain who he is.
True.
What? He's Sonic's rival. That's pretty much it. Anyway,
he just appears.
You talking about Rise of Lyric or the show?
Yes.
Oh, because,
and he just disappears into the shadow.
No. Well, Rise of Lyric is bad. I will give you that. But show-wise, I think it was fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Mach Speed Zone type levels from the previous game also make their return, and as you can probably guess, yes, they make much more heavier use of the Fire and Ice gimmick. Yeah. So once again, use the Y button to boost, and yeah, just dodge the obstacles. Again, it works pretty much like the ones in the previous game. There you go. Yeah, but here's a tip for you. If you're in an icy part of the stage, make sure you have the fire powers on, because there will always be ice to melt into there. When you're in the fiery section of the level, switch to your ice powers, because you know there's going to be ice blocks. There's always a gimmick that's the opposite of the section you're in these levels.
These are a bit of an eyesore, not gonna lie.
Very funny, Shiroi.
That wasn't a pun.
Sure it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. I'm just making them subconsciously now.
It seems. Don't worry, Shiroi. I'm sure Sigmund Freud will happily come back from the grave to help you out with that.
While Shiroi deals with that, yes, like I was saying, the writers of the show, specifically Alan Denton and Bill Freiberger, as well as some other guy, I forgot his name, but yeah, Bill Freiberger and Alan Denton. That's it, Tin Guerrero. Thank you, Dibs. Tin Guerrero, Bill Freiberger? Is it Freiberger? Yeah. And Alan Denton from the show also helped out with the writing. And as a result, like Deji said, the game is actually in continuity with the show, and the writing is much more exactly the kind of thing you see in the show. So if you like the show, you'll probably enjoy this as well.
Okay, to give Rise of Lyric credit, eventually the show did give episodes which did blatantly connect it continuity-wise with it. Shadow Crystal, apparently not. This game, yes.
Well, remember, remember, the show's writers were not involved in Shadow Crystal. It was just Pontak and Graf. So that's the big problem. You know, you'd think they would have Pontak and Graf, consult with Bill and Alan to make sure everything was, consistent, but I guess not.
You know what's funny? The show was called the entire Boom project was called Sonic Synergy. Boy, that failed to live up to its name.
That was the original name of that BRB came up with for their game. Go on, Joe.
Okay, honestly, look, while I do feel like Sonic Boom as a franchise ended on a solid enough note, seriously, add sticks to the main continuity, you cowards, and you're already halfway there with the Olympic Games.
Oh, you mean the one game she appeared in and then disappeared afterwards?
Oh, no. I actually do like this. I actually do like this bit with Tails.
Tails ending.
Thanks for the save, guys. Those fire and ice powers come from your communicator.
Oh.
It must have somehow absorbed
I actually do like this bit.
from a fissure blast.
Oh.
If I update the firmware,
So there's our reason for why they have the power stage.
Here we go, then.
Awesome.
Hold on.
We've all got the fire and ice ability now. Because science.
Because science. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's cute.
Okay. Like I said, this is basically on par with what I've seen of the show. Again, it's okay. It's fine. It works.
My monitors are detecting a bunch Friendship fissures are
I mean, you know, to give them credit, they actually do. Okay, it's kind of a quick bout explanation, but, you know, it's simple.
It just works, okay?
Yeah. Communicators absorbed energy, we got fire and ice powers, everyone's got them now. Bam.
It's comic book science, basically.
And to be fair, it does stay in continuity with how pretty much their wrist gadgets have given them a lot of other abilities here and there, so this is overall fine.
So yeah, now we can play as Tails. And like I said, Tails can glide, kind of, because he doesn't actually fly like he does in the classic games. Instead, he just kind of flies downward slowly.
Sad is it, Pedro, that this game still knew better how to use elemental abilities than Knack did?
Not that that's a hard thing to accomplish. Not that that was a hard thing to accomplish. It was better, Edge, but not by much, to be honest with you.
Honestly, I'm gonna argue, no. The first Knack game, not even that, because you didn't even get elemental abilities. At best, you got elemental weaknesses from them, but no, all they were pretty much just glorified extra health bars, Edge.
Let me put it this way, Edge.
Yeah, I said Knack 2.
No, that's what he was talking about. Knack 2 was actually the one...
Yeah, I was talking about the first Knack, though.
Well, what he means, Dej, is that Knack 2 was the only one that had elemental gimmicks. Well, at least in a way that actually affected the gameplay, more like.
Can you drown if you stay in the melted ice bit too long?
No. Yes, go on, Java.
Why would you even do that anyway? But no, I mean, that's like, I mean, yeah, sure, Knack 2 did do that, but congrats, it took you until the sequel to, like Dark Lord Shadow 1 said, realize that the ice power-up should, you know, do something.
Yeah, that's just stupid.
Well, you know, I'll admit, I'm kind of surprised that Sony weren't hard-headed enough to go with a Knack 3, honestly.
Well, that was more...
cowards.
Well, remember, the Knack games are kind of like the car series. They're Mark Cerny's pet project. You know, it's more so the fact that he had his second. Okay, it depends now. Like, considering how successful the PS5 is doing right now, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Mark finally gets to make Knack free. Because remember, that's kind of this seems kind of to be his thing, where if he does good enough in his console division, he gets to continue making his pet project. It seems to be like the deal he has going on. We'll have to wait and see.
One thing to remember, Pedro, if anything, it seems more like Knack 2 was a passion project for Japan Studio.
That's okay, we gotta ask for a playroom.
Because if anything, it sounds like Knack 2 was a desperate project from Japan Studio than it was Mark Cerny's passion project, whereas the first game, yeah, totally him, but I don't know, for some reason he seemed less involved when it came to the second game.
Well,
not to say he wasn't involved, but
he still directed and wrote it though. So
look, wine grills.
It always comes off as
Ryan
like, yeah, fine, I'll come back for that.
The rails work exactly the rails in this game work pretty much exactly like they do in the 2D levels of Lost World for DS. They just work basically. Where was I? Yeah.
Since we're on the topic of Mark Cerny, it is funny how he was one of the people involved with Genesis Sonic games that has a better career at her.
Sonic 2, yeah. He was actually the
Bandicoot as well.
He was actually the one that actually brought Naka and Yasuhara into the Sega Technical Institute, because at the time Naka and Yasuhara were fed up with Japan's constant meddling, apparently. But then again, knowing what we know now about Naka, probably he was just being a prima donna like he usually is. But Cerny was one who actually come to Sega Technical Institute, and you'll be able to have a lot more freedom there. And that's what happened, basically. What was it? Yeah. So yeah, that's basically what it is. Now we just go from level to level, closing fissures, and while wacky shenanigans happen in the meantime, again, it works. It's a functioning game, both writing-wise and gameplay-wise.
Okay, I mean, Tails' model at least looks okay.
Yeah, it looks fine. It's just that Amy and Sonic's, and especially Knuckles, still look derpy. They're probably
Sticks is see Amy and Sonic the most, so why do they look more derpy?
I guess it's more sort of camera thing. I feel like Styx' model looks the best.
Alright, so Another new. Okay, this is a.
maneuvers.
Okay, so before we go into that level, let me first check something here. Oh, Guido cutscene now.
That guy before he turns back into a destructive pile of random junk.
There you are, you diminutive disappointment. Always screwing up. First, you couldn't collect the rare arachnium mineral. Then you screwed up my eggbot races.
You should have made him better than Jesus.
You have one job now. Protect the fissures. How hard can that be? Keep them open. Now get back to work.
You have one job.
Protect and attack.
That is just annoyingly loud. I can't even understand what. Huh? Whoa, no fair.
Oh, bye.
It's because loudness.
Fine, fine. I'll turn off the PA. Now, can you understand?
No, keep it on so you can deafen Sonic.
It's always so dangerous that he basically just has an open door to his airship like that.
Dumb plan is a race, one you can't win. To finally show the world that you're not the
you race him better, come on.
He said it. He's made the reference.
Please clap.
So embarrassed, you'll have to leave town.
Say to him reference. Get it? Fastest thing alive.
You said clap, Deji.
Yeah, I said, yeah.
A race? I can race.
Well, I
I
know it's not the same concept.
Drop him.
But Eggman can beat Sonic in a race on foot.
Yeah.
Okay, to be fair, the whole fastest thing alive thing is not a Sad AM exclusive thing, so I'm not sure they were making that as like some huge big reference.
Well, it was the Sate AM song that came up with the fastest thing alive bit. So.
True, yeah, but fastest thing alive is kind of one of his tagline things that's gone throughout the franchise.
Oh, sure.
That's where.
But
It grows beyond the.
Oh, sure. I understand that, but when I think that, I think Sate AM immediately because that's what I.
Yeah, like Mega Man with Super Fighting Robot. You think of the cartoon.
Yeah, basically. Fighting.
Seriously,
we're fighting robots, Mega Man. Anyway.
The only good thing about that show.
Anyway.
Hey.
Still better.
Arrow Man was boss in that show, dude.
Yeah, and then he punches him and then dies immediately.
Still better than fully charged.
NT Warrior was fine.
Yeah.
Oh yes, it was. Yeah. Star Force was pretty good.
Anyway, let me
I've never seen that one.
So yes, Pedro. What do you have to do here?
Okay, so remember the Metal Sonic race from the Shadow Crystal that comes out of nowhere and leaves just as abruptly and the game never brings it up again? Well, they took the gameplay from that bit and turned it into a running gimmick. Basically, throughout every single island, Eggman will have this racing bot that will try to race us to quote-unquote prove that we are not the fastest thing alive. So basically it's a race of 3 laps, and you have to make sure you do all 3 laps before the robot does. If you don't, that's okay, you can just restart.
I can actually totally get this because Eggman knows that one of Sonic's biggest bouts to his pride is his speed. So Eggman pretty much humiliating Sonic in a race is something I can get. Like, heck, there was literally an episode of Sonic Underground where he knows that Sonic will be desperate enough to prove his speed, so of course he lures him out with the race.
They use it as like a regular plot point for an episode. Like, every series has like one episode of that.
This kind of reminds me a bit of Sonic Rivals.
Yeah, it does kind of give you that vibe.
Yeah, I get that.
Well, do that game, Pedro.
Eventually, don't worry, we'll get there.
I'm looking forward to when we do Sonic Rivals 2, mostly because of the theme song.
Oh yeah, can we bring Ted Polly back while we're at? Like, I miss Ted Polly.
Don't
if
worry,
he's available.
Getting Juice to know for Frontiers.
I mean, Ted Polly doesn't do that much nowadays, Joe. I'm pretty confident Ted is available.
Well, again, as easy as it would be to throw blame here and there, we don't really know all the circumstances as to why he's not come back or whatnot here and there. Like,
sure,
maybe he is legit just gone under the radar and not available.
I guess.
Maybe it's not the kind of thing he wants to do anymore.
Oh, no. Actually, no, in the interviews, Ted Polly has said that he loves working with June. Actually,
yes. But does he want to do it anymore? Like he said, he loves doing it. But
he might come back for Frontiers if possible. But anyway, join us in the next part where we explore more into Deji's favorite series.
See ya.
Yeah.